Hello everyone, welcome back to Too Sweet MTG and welcome to another tier list. Today we're going to be ranking every product that Wizards of the Coast actually makes for Magic. We're going to be comparing them all against each other and see what is the best and what is the worst. Now this is the actual products themselves. We're not going to be comparing like a booster box of Kamigawa against a booster box of Modern Horizons, anything like that. We will be comparing a booster box with the other products that Wizards make. These are all things that Wizards of the Coast actually sell for Magic. Now, I did look through the Wizards product page, but I'm positive there will be some that I have missed. It's not my fault. I did my best. Let me know down in the comments if there's any that I've missed. So we're going to start off hot with the OG product itself, a draft booster box. So what is this trying to do? This is trying to give you 36 packs to play with and to draft with or to do sealed with. Yes, I know you can get less for a master set, but we are looking at this in terms of this is how you buy packs to play with. Obviously, it does it quite well. This has been the core product. This is like most people's earliest memories of Magic will be going to a store, picking up a couple of booster packs, opening them, see what you get. This is like the very first product Magic ever made was a booster pack like this. I know drafting became a thing actually later on from when Magic actually started, but you can trace this product all the way back to the start of Magic the Gathering itself. With the release of other booster products though, it has meant that draft boosters have technically got worse. There are now cards in a set that you can't open in a draft booster pack. I don't really like that, if I'm honest with you. It does make it a bit more confusing. If you're not an enfranchised player who kind of keeps up to date with where things are printed in, you could buy a draft booster pack not knowing that it doesn't contain some cards from the set, like some of the Commander cards, for example. I'm not a massive fan of draft booster packs being made worse for this, but it's meant that these booster packs are specifically for playing. You can still crack them, but that's not entirely what they are made for anymore. So for me, that means that the OG draft booster is a solid and lovable B. So next up, we're on to the newer pack products that they've made. We are moving on to a set booster box. This is trying to give you booster packs to just open. You can't play with these are there just to be opened. So the question is, how good is a set booster box at giving you cards to just open? So it's giving you 30 packs that you can just use for cracking. Again, you can't play games with these. You do get less cards in a set booster box than you do in a draft booster box. I think the idea is that over a booster box, you get roughly the same amount of rares as a draft booster box. There are also the list cards in there, which can be quite nice. There's other cards in here that you can't get in a draft booster box, like the Commander cards that we mentioned earlier. And in these packs, there's more chances of cooler artwork existing. In terms of grade, I don't like the fact that they've made draft booster packs worse to make this exist. I do like the fact that these exist. If I'm going to open a booster pack to crack, I will get one of these if I'm in a game store or something like that. But because you only get 30 packs in a booster box, it does mean that the packs themselves are slightly more expensive. I think it does a good job of giving you things to open, but I do think it could be improved. Some of those improvements we'll get to a bit later on. But for now, I'm giving set booster boxes a C. I don't like them as much as a draft booster box because a draft booster box, it still does the thing of you can open them just because you want to, but you can also play with them as well. That is a solid reason for why one is a B and one is a C. So next up, we have the even fancier, we have the collector booster box. This is trying to give players the chance of opening the fanciest versions of cards available. How good is it at this? So a pack is mostly foils. I will let you decide if that is a good thing or a bad thing. The pack in general will contain more rares and mythics than a regular pack, and you're guaranteed to get certain types of art, like full arts or alt art foils, these kind of things. Of all of the Magic products, this is probably the most loot boxy of all of the ones that they make. And in my own personal experience, when I've opened these, if the rares I've opened aren't good, you do feel like you've lost a bet or something like that. In terms of grading them, I do think we need to consider just the raw cost of them. They're about 5 times more expensive than a draft booster pack on average. They are good ways of getting alternate arts and foils, but in my experience, a lot of the foil commons and uncommons just end up in the chaff box with everything else. For me, that makes collector booster boxes a D. I think they're a really good way of getting fancy cards, but for most people, it's going to be a treat every now and then. It's not something the average player is going to be going out and spending all their money on all the time. Next up, we have the pre-release kit. So what is this trying to do? It's trying to give people 6 booster packs and a promo to play a sealed game of Magic at pre-release. If you like Magic, you should play pre-release. It is probably my second favourite in Magic thing to do outside of a cube draft. They can be themed to the set. You get a promo card in them to use on Arena. We like that. The dice coming in the box is really nice, and they often come with push-out tokens, which is also really cool. It's everything you need to play Magic at a pre-release in one little box. It is perfect. For me, that means a pre-release kit is an easy S. Now, I will caveat this, that this is a pre-release kit being used at pre-release. To just go down and buy, I think it would probably be lower, probably about a C, because you're kind of, effectively then you're buying 6 booster packs and a promo. But as a product designed for something, for pre-release, I think it's fantastic. Another caveat, actually, now I think about this, if it's a set with a seeded booster pack, like Return to Ravnica, where you kind of pick a guild, I would put that down a level. I personally prefer just opening 6 booster packs than kind of getting a seeded pack, that kind of thing. But generally speaking, it's an easy S for me. Next up, we have the bundle. This is trying to give players some booster packs and some lands to help them start a collection. It does it pretty well. The cost of it does make about sense. The swap over to set boosters here, they used to be draft boosters, they're now set boosters. I don't mind, I do like this. The boxes actually are quite useful for like transporting cards or starting your collection to kind of sort them. They are quite good. If you're just starting out and you want some lands and some packs and a box to store everything in, I think this is one of the best things that you can get early on. For players who already have boxes and lands, it becomes a bit less of a deal. It roughly works out the same as buying 8 booster packs and spending a couple quid more on the box, dice and lands. So for that reason, because I think it appeals to a smaller selection of Magic players than some of the other products, I think that does mean that it is a C for me. One thing is that if these came with the fancy lands of each set, then this would be higher for me. But we can't have nice things because the next thing we're going to talk about is a fancy bundle. What is this trying to do? As far as I can tell, given current costs for this, and I think if you could get this as a bit of a deal beforehand, it might be more reasonable. But as far as I can tell, the goal of a fancy bundle is to rip people off. How well does it do this? Well, in terms of ripping people off, pretty well. The cost for this fancy bundle, or with the current set of Phyrexia Orbi 1, the complete edition, is roughly the same cost as 24 set booster packs. For this, you get 12 set booster packs and 1 complete edition booster. For what it's worth, a complete edition booster is 10 basic lands and 2 mythics. They are all in like a fancy slick art that you can only get in this bundle. But if you don't open a good mythic in here, I do think you're going to be left feeling hard done by. You get a promo which is nice, and in this product, they give you 40 of the fancy lands, 20 in each of the styles from the set. Oddly, you also don't get a dice with this product, which is kind of a bit weird. Based on current prices that I'm seeing them at, this is an F. I don't see a reason to buy this product at the moment. If this product was like 20, 30 quid more expensive than the cost of the 12 booster packs you get into it, so with that you're paying 20, 30 quid for the box, for the complete edition, or like the fancy booster pack and the lands, I think that's probably about fair. But at current prices, being able to get double the amount of Magic product for the same price, I think is a really hard sell. Circling back to booster packs, we are on a Draft Booster 3-pack. So what is this trying to do? This is trying to let people buy 3 booster packs to draft with. How does it do this? It does this. This is literally what the product is. It is 3 booster packs in a box. I personally would find this helpful if it was sold near me. I'm not sure if this is like an Amazon thing or like a big US supermarket thing. We don't get Magic cards in the supermarkets over here, unfortunately. But if you can just go in and buy one of these on your way to a draft or on the way to meeting up with friends, I think this is pretty solid. If it's just Amazon, then this rating is going to be lower. But for me, the fact that you can just walk in and buy a draft kit straight away, that's a solid B. I would definitely see myself buying this product if it was available over here. Next up, we have a Set Booster 3-pack. I don't actually see the point of this, if I'm honest with you. I don't see why you wouldn't just buy 3 individual booster packs. Again, this is probably a supermarket thing or an Amazon thing. With the draft ones, I can see the point of them. There's 3 booster packs, that's how much you need for a draft. You can go in and buy 1 product, and it's there ready. When you're cracking booster packs, you can't just want to crack however many that you want. This is only going to be useful for someone who wants to buy specifically 3 booster packs to crack. So for that reason, and because I don't really see the point of it, I'm going to give it an E. It's probably, if you want to buy specifically 3 booster packs, then it's as good as you want it to be. But for most people, I don't overly see the point of it. All right, next up, we have a good one. And this is the yearly Commander Precon decks. This is trying to sell people a pre-made Commander deck that's ready to use out of the box. They also need to be balanced against the other precons in that release, while also introducing some new cards to the format. I think this does it extremely well. These are generally always very solid decks. You can buy one of these and you can start playing immediately. They're also all a decent power level, which we like, and they're all balanced against each other. There's always maybe one that's slightly better or one that's slightly worse, but generally speaking, they're all pretty solid. And what's great about them is that the value of the cards that are in this product is normally noticeably higher than the actual cost of going out and buying it. I know we're also getting Commander product in sets now, as we mentioned in the set boosters and the collector boosters, but generally speaking, this is where they print the coolest of all the new cards in Magic, and it comes out every year. In terms of grade, this one's actually quite easy for me. This is a slam dunk of an S. This is probably the best pre-constructed product that Wizards actually make. Some years are better than others, I will admit that, but as an entryway into a particular format, I don't think they do anything better than this. So yeah, easy S for me. Next up, we have the set Commander precons. So these are the Commander precons they make for every set that comes out. These are basically like the yearly ones, but they're trying to make them come out with each set. There's normally only 2, whereas with the yearly ones you can have 4 or 5. They're also generally not as powerful, and they don't have as many new cards in them, but they're trying to use themes from the set to kind of like, to help push an archetype in the set so it works better in Commander. In terms of how well it does this, again, like the yearly product, I think it does it pretty well. There is a trade-off for not having as many new cards, but it does mean you get a lot of solid reprints that work in your deck. And also what's nicer is these are generally a little bit cheaper than the yearly ones as well. In terms of grade, I think this is a solid A. It still does what the yearly one does in terms of giving you a deck that you can go out and play with straight away, but because of less of the new cards, it doesn't appeal to as wide a range of players. Like, I've generally bought less of this product because it contains a lot of cards I already own. And I think the more established you get in Commander, the more that will come up. But as a product to help people get into playing Commander, I still think they're fantastic. And the lower price point is definitely appreciated. Sticking with the Commander product now, we have a relatively new one with Commander starter decks. These are trying to give people who are just starting out in Commander a deck to play with. How does it do this? Again, very well. I'm pretty sure these decks are entirely 100% reprints, but the trade-off with that is that they are much, much cheaper. I've generally seen them for about 20 to 25 quid, which is almost half the cost of the yearly ones. In terms of a grade, I would give this another A. I think it's on par with the other ones, because basically, if you don't have any cards in Commander and you just want to try out the format, 20 to 25 quid is a very reasonable way to get a foothold in the format. Like, they all come with Sol Ring, they all come with all these cards that if you're just starting out, you won't have. This gives you them and is a great way to getting into playing Commander. Because these won't appeal to more established players, I can't push it higher, but I'm happy with it being an A. Next up, we have the yearly Jumpstart product. So this is trying to give players an easy way to play Magic with friends, while also giving new cards and some needed reprints. It does it pretty well. Basically, you get a pack of 20 cards, spells and lands in each booster pack. You take 2 of them, shuffle them together, and play against someone else who has done the same. The games of Magic that this leads to are actually pretty fun, and the combinations that you can get are very cool. With the yearly one, there's always some cool new commanders or some cool cards in there, and also the reprints are always nice and needed. In terms of a grade, I would actually give Jumpstart a B. I do actually quite like it. I think it's a very solid product. There are some minor tweaks I would make to actually raise the grade. Like, the main one is putting a list of all the cards in your pack so that after your game you can rebuild it. Whenever I have played Jumpstart, I have always had the aim of putting the deck back together, but because there's no easily available list, I've never been bothered. So a lot of the times I play Jumpstart, it is a one-use thing. If they made Jumpstart more replayable, so you could treat it more like a board game so you could rebuild it afterwards nice and easily, this would probably go up to an A for me. Sticking with Jumpstart for the time being, next up we have the Jumpstart product for each individual set. Yes, I believe they now do this now for every set. This is going to be the same, a lot of the points are same as before. However, I'm going to give it a C because as far as I'm aware, they don't have unique cards in them, or if they do, it's really, really low. It's still a fun way to play, but if you want to get your hands on cards from a new set, there are better ways of doing it, I think. Actually, I was wrong. One more Jumpstart product. We have a Jumpstart 2-pack. So what is this trying to do? This is trying to sell you 2 Jumpstart booster packs in a little box. How well does it do this? It's literally that. It is 2 Jumpstart packs in a little box. Is it worth it, and what grade would I give it? I would actually give this a B, if I'm honest with you. The reason for that is you need 2 Jumpstart packs to play. So this is quite easy to, you go buy 2 of these, then you and a friend can both play, or you buy 1, your friend buys 1. You know you can play Magic immediately. I like things that you don't need any other faffing around with. You can just buy it and play Magic straight away. Like some of the other ones, I'm assuming this is a US supermarket thing because I have never seen this in person, if I'm honest with you. Again, like the other ones, if this is just on Amazon, then I like it a lot less. Support your local game stores, all that good stuff. But I will be honest, if I was in a supermarket and I saw these, I would be tempted to pick 2 of these up just so I could play some easy games with my wife. Next up, we're moving on to the Pioneer Challenger decks and the Standard Challenger decks. I'm going to bundle the Standard ones and the Pioneer ones together here. They're trying to give you the base of a deck that you can go down to F&M and play the relevant format in. From this, you can then upgrade that to the whole deck. In terms of how well they do this, I think it's fair to say that they will give you a deck that you can go down and play with. How competitive they are is dependent on how good the deck still is by the time they come out, and how much tuning you need to do to the deck afterwards. I'm gonna give this a C, and my reasons for this is that as an entry-level product that you can go and take down to something, I think it is solid. Unlike some of the other products where you just buy it and you can use it immediately, the upgrading with these generally needs to be more. They generally only reprint like one good rare in each of the products. Like you'll get one Embercleave when the deck needs 4, that kind of thing. The other thing is down to how long it takes Wizards to make these products, which I will admit I do think is fair because they have to look at the meta, they have to design a deck, design the packaging. For the standard ones, they definitely come out closer to rotation than I would like. I think it's normally been within like a year to 9 months, and the metas can move pretty quickly, so that it means that the decks can be outdated by the time they've come out. Some decks will definitely be higher depending on how long they're going to be in the format and also their power level, but as an average, I think C is going to be fair here. Alright, next up, we have Game Night Free-for-All. So what is this trying to do? This is trying to turn Magic into a board game. It's aiming to be a way to introduce new players to Magic. It basically contains 5 monocolored decks that you can kind of take out the box and play against your friends. I think it's fine at it, but I think there's better options out there. If you're starting from scratch and you're learning how to play Magic, most game stores will have free decks that they can give out to you, like free intro decks. They're not on this list because Wizards aren't actually selling them, they are free. But the Game Night Free-for-All is specifically marketed as a way of introducing other players to playing Magic. I think it's fine at that, but I do think there are better options out there. Like if you're showing people how to play Magic, you will probably already have some cards. Or you can just show them Arena. Arena is very good at teaching people how to play Magic from scratch. The intro levels, I think, are actually very good for new players. Also with this product, it's a bit hard to actually work out what it's doing. I think it's meant to actually be multiplayer, as like one of the face blue cards has gives something goad, which is a very multiplayer mechanic. It does not work in one-on-one. But if I'm honest, I don't think you want to be playing 60 card decks with multiplayer with like 20 life. That is kind of what Commander is for. I'm going to give this an E, primarily because I think there are better ways of getting new people into playing Magic. Like, if you want to buy something, you could just buy a bunch of Jumpstart packs and play games immediately. Or if this is meant for multiplayer, you could just go and buy 2 starter Commander decks for the same price as this product. Next up, we have Secret Lair. What is this trying to do? This is trying to sell cards with new artwork directly to players. How well does it do this? In that respect, it does it well. Definitely from a Wizard's point of view. It's a direct pipeline to players' wallets. Most people's rating on Secret Lairs will depend on the actual layers themselves in terms of what they contain, whether it's a cool new art style that you like, or whether it contains a valuable reprint of a card you don't own. Sometimes they do particularly well with the reprints, like the one that had all the original Praetors in. If you didn't own any of the Praetors, that was a fantastic way of picking up all 5 of them nice and easily. There are definitely flip sides to this though, because a lot of Secret Lairs have contained 5 individual lands for 30 quid. That I personally think they can do better at. If this was just based on the Secret Lairs themselves, I think it would be a C. We'll drag it onto the C for the time being. If you want to buy them, cool, you can buy them. If you don't like them, you can just ignore them. That's also fantastic. But because of just some issues that people have with Secret Lairs, I've had them myself. Like the length of the time it takes for the cards to get to you. Like I know people were waiting, I think, over a year to get the coin flip Commander deck. And also just issues with the website, like some of the timed boxes they've done have just been, the website's been crashing constantly and it's infuriating. And not to mention the whole 30th year proxy box thing for $1,000. Let's not get into that one. Those kind of issues drag Secret Lair down to a D for me. I'm not going to put it lower than that because it has given me some things that I do really like. Like the Iron Maiden artist who did a load of dredge cards really appeals to me, and the Metal Gear Solid art on artifacts means that I can't put this any lower, but if there was a product that players should just take or leave, it is 100% Secret Lair. Okay, we're reaching our last couple now. Next up we have Commander Collections. This is trying to give reprints to represent the chosen colour. Currently we've had green and black. I'm assuming they're going to complete the cycle at some point. You get a bunch of cool and powerful cards in the individual colours, plus a themed Sol Ring and Command Tower. Basically, this is a Secret Lair, if I'm completely honest with you, but instead of ordering it online and waiting for 3 months, you can walk into your local game store and buy it. And like a Secret Lair, this might not be for everyone, but if you want it, you should be able to go into a game store and buy it. I like that part of this. Another big thing in the Commander Collection's favour is that it's only available in local game stores. You can't buy this on Amazon or anything like that. That means by buying one, you are supporting your local game store. We love that. That makes this quite an easy B for me. Okay, next up, I am counting this as a product that Wizards make, and we are talking about Migo. What is Magic Online trying to do? It's letting you play Magic remotely. It's definitely changed in recent years with Arena coming out, which we will get onto, but Migo has become one of the best places to play older formats. You have things like Vintage on there, you have Legacy, it's where Pauper was basically formed, and you have things like Cube on there. We love all that. In terms of how well it does this, technically, you can do all of those things on Migo. The economy is pretty similar to real life, and there are companies out there that let you rent decks, which make playing things like Vintage and Legacy extremely affordable. Like, if you're looking to get into those formats, then Migo is for you. You can also, in theory, trade your collection for real cards. There is a bit of faffing around with that, and I think you still pay postage, that kind of thing, but it is doable. We like that. But with all that said, the interface sucks. I have never liked the interface on Migo. I don't think anyone actually likes the interface on Migo. It's like playing an MS-DOS game. In terms of a grade, I'm going to give it a D. I can't put it any higher than that. I just don't enjoy interacting with it. I know plenty of people who play a ton of Migo, and I'm guessing that is more because there isn't an alternative out there to play older formats remotely. But just the faff of using it means I can't put it any higher. So that brings us on to a last one, and we're going to be talking about Arena. So what is Magic the Gathering Arena trying to do? Well, primarily it's trying to be better than Migo, which, to be honest, it isn't super hard. How well does it do this? In some ways, it does it really well. The gameplay is really crisp. It works on mobile, which is fantastic. You can compete in tournaments on it, and it's fantastic for new players. The tutorials are really good. It looks nice, and it's not a pain to use. But like with anything, there are downsides. I personally am not a big fan of the economy. It is like one of those freemium games where yes, you can play it for free, and it is good. Playing for free to earn your gold and do a draft is fine. It's also quite easy to build your first deck, but then we've all run out of rares, and then you have to put money into it, and that's where I kind of fall down a little bit. They have just introduced 4 rare wildcards for about a tenner. By introducing it, they're almost acknowledging that it is an issue. But on the flip side, £2.50 for any rare is not that bad. That is annoying, but any rare being £2.50 isn't awful. It could actually be quite good. In terms of a grade, I'm going to give Arena a B. As a platform and as a video game in 2023 of playing Magic, I do think it is quite good. I just don't like the economy. That's kind of my main thing stopping me from putting it any higher. And part of that for me is I personally just don't like paying for things twice. I mainly play Magic the Gathering in paper. I don't like the idea of spending money on something that I already own somewhere else. There's a couple things they could do to drag me back in. Like, the main one is if they put a code for Arena in a booster pack. So you like entered a code or you scanned it on your phone, something like that. And for every booster pack you bought in real life, you got a booster pack on Arena. I would play more Arena. Like, yes, still charge me for my drafts. That part is fine. But just make it easier for me to have one collection give you one source of money. Unfortunately, Arena seems to be very profitable with them, so I don't think that's going to be changing anytime soon. Oh, and actually add permanent queues for Gladiator. That would also get me to play a lot more Arena, if I'm honest. Cool. Yeah, I think I'm good with this tier list. Let me know down in the comments what your opinion of it is. Would you put any higher? Would you put any lower? Am I being too harsh? Am I being too generous? Do let me know. But until next time, please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you all soon. Goodbye.